So one of my favorite tonic herbs that quite often doesn't get the recognition as being one of these vital herbs, one of these superior herbs that for thousands of years were seen to be as extremely useful to bring into the diet. So you have these humble medicinal actions doing that chop wood, carry water of maintaining your metabolic health long term is clay. So I've just got a little like Australian clay here. I like this brand. I use it. Bentonite clay is the only clay that you're going to be able to get here in Australia. In other places, there are different types which are able to be dietarily used. But clay is a mineral tonic herb in the Shen Nong Bensao Jing, the original Materia Medica, over 2,000 years ago, when roughly when that Materia Medica was produced and released to the world. That's where we start getting we see eucommia bark and ginseng, and there's 4 clays in there in that mineral category. Now, a clay is something that I always like seeing people using when they are starting out and using medicinal mushrooms and these jing herbs that we offer here at SuperFeast. And that's because a lot of the time, especially if you're just moving into that more healthy lifestyle, you're going to see the immune system via taking those medicinal mushrooms, immune system and the rest of the metabolic system starting to be amplified as you bring those jing herbs in and you start to get that foundational strength going in the body. All of a sudden, you are going to start seeing the body's capacity to release metabolic toxins trapped in fat deposits, viral loads, bacterial loads, die-off from candida, all these things that are very natural that happen when you get on these herbs that we offer here at SuperFeast, which are so immunologically potent. As there starts to be a little bit of extra strain on the liver to get those out of the body, when you move to that phase 3 liver detoxification, where the toxicity moves through the bile, or just whether it's the toxicity or just the waste, the metabolic waste, environmental waste that all of a sudden the body has the strength to remove from the system and get into the gastrointestinal tract, it's really nice. It's not an accident that these clays, these binders, these negatively charged minerals that have not an absorbing action, but an adsorbing action, which means that the surface is able to attract and bind those positively charged particles, which we're talking about the viruses here. We're talking about heavy metals, these kinds of things that we want out of the body that can come through the gastrointestinal tract and bind to and grab a hold of these toxins and move them out of the body, which means you're going to have less absorption, reabsorption of these things that the liver was trying to get out of the system, and it's just going to be happier days for everybody. Remember, if you're getting onto herbs like the hepatoprotective, liver-loving medicinal mushrooms, if you're getting onto the schizandras, the beauty blend, those liver herbs, a lot of the jing herbs are going to be liver herbs as well, tonifying that liver wood energy. You are going to see more efficacy of your body's ability to get these out of the body, and you really, really, really are going to have a hard time if you have digestive issues, if you aren't, if your body isn't used to processing these kinds of toxins, you're going to have a real hard time. That's why I love seeing people on like a bentonite clay when you, especially if you're having a little bit of a Herx reaction, if you're having a little bit of a detoxifying reaction, if you are on like the beauty blend with the Schizandra, for example, and all of a sudden that starts bringing up a little bit of acne, maybe for the first time because you've previously been on the pill or something like that, it's going to be very useful for you being on something like a clay to get those, pharmaceuticals out the system. Remember, it's a long-term practice being on the clay. There's so many, there's so many examples of animals, pretty much most animals, especially mammals, but birds, going and finding clay deposits. They're not even on a crappy Western pharmaceutical diet either, just on a wild food diet. There's going to be metabolic waste, and there's going to be toxins within the wild food that they're eating. They know that they're going to go and seek out a clay deposit and eat that so it can bind to what's in there that they don't want and get it out of the body. The indigenous usage around clay is it's so well documented, and it shows when you see Shen Nong, the original Materia Medica by that time, There's so much indigenous wisdom that's getting poured into that materia medica and classified, and that's why you see clay being one of the staples herbs, mineral herbs recommended to be long term in the diet. How often do I take it? I might take it for like a week. And then I might, like forget for 2 weeks, and then I'll go back on for a couple of days when I'm vibing it, and then I might have a year taking it. It's like it's in my diet, It's like it's a long-term practice for me. Clay's a real gentle way to do it. I put a teaspoon of the powder in a water a lot of the time, but the night before, I'm going to take it and let that hydrate overnight, and then I'll take that first thing in the morning, and I'll leave a nice gap before I'm taking any other herbs or doing any kinds of supplements. If I want to ramp it up, if I'm really going through a detoxification protocol, zeolites is what I like to use. I don't use zeolites long term. I have a few friends that say, maybe there's a possibility that it's demineralizing with long term usage. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I like to have the zeolites there when I'm really feeling like I want a supercharged clay, and I'm really going to be pulling it and binding to especially a lot of the heavy metals and anything that's excessively anything excessively viral, fungal, anything like that. It's a real supercharged clay. And then sometimes if I'm really feeling like I want to clear, I'll go kind of towards the charcoal. My mate Damo from Super Health just came up with Super Binder, which has got a bit of charcoal and clay and the psyllium husk and slippery elm. So that's for me, charcoal is when, it's a bit too dehydrating for me to be having all the time. But, just say I've been I don't know, drinking, a bit more. I have a party and I've been drinking a little bit more. If I'm feeling a little bit off, if I've been needing to go through, if I'm eating things that I wouldn't normally eat and I really want that crap out of my body, then, or if I'm going body surfing north of LA and Malibu, and I know that there's going to be a lot of environmental toxicity that I don't want to muck around with, and I want that absorbed and out of my body, we'll take charcoal. So that's a nice product as well. So guys, binders are something that are extremely underestimated, and it's something that, in this SuperFeast tonic herbal community, I really want to get you guys, understanding these clays as tonic herbs. All right, and so it's a part of your diet. Remember, there were four clays in the original materia medica. So if you're into schizandras and astragalises and reishis and cordyceps and ginsengs, you better be into your clays too. So get your hands on some, enjoy them. That humble medicinal action of clay.